We're going to call the meeting of the county board Wednesday, November 20th, 24 to order. Roll call, please.
Trudeau.
Here.
Negro.
Here.
Metzinger.
Here.
Campbell.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
Kinney.
Here.
Hufall.
Here.
Franek.
Here.
Dendor.
Here.
Reamer.
Here.
Busse.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Vitek.
Here.
Huber.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Ader.
Here.
Weindahl.
Here.
Merdig.
Here.
Ellefson.
Here.
19 present.
Okay. We'll have a moment of silence and then we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we need an adoption of the agenda. Mr. Sindor?
Ron will make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Ron makes a motion. Richard?
This is Rich Huber. I'll second it.
Richard Huber makes seconds. Any questions? All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion. Thank you. Motion carried. Public comment? Anyone in the audience? Anyone online? Oh. Okay, thank you. Is anybody online or in person? Anyone online for public comment? Hearing none. Okay. Regular agenda approval of the October 29th, 2024 County Board minutes. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Mr. Busse makes a motion. Mr. Vitek? Mr. Vitek seconds. Changes, corrections? Motion's been made and seconded to approve the October 29th, 24 County Board minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Approval of amended sheriff's deputy contract. Dan?
Yep. So this contract basically is only changed for health insurance. The original contract said that we would pay 90% of the premium through the life of the contract. But since we're changing insurances on January 1st, we had to amend it to say that we'd pay 88%. The deputies have already agreed to this. They're in favor of the new health plan. And so we just need to amend the contract.
Ron will make a motion. We amend the sheriff's contract to go to 88%, not 90.
Motion by Ron Sindor to
Brad Ray will second.
second by Brad Ray. Questions, Laura?
When we have this stuff on there, in this summary that's at the beginning, on that beginning page, can you put these kind of things in? So
Yeah.
that way, I mean, not that I don't love reading the whole contract, but it helps. Thank you.
Mr. Busse?
Yeah, I apologize for not having done my research in advance. When I read in Article 1, Section 1, the employees who are excluded from the contract, I just didn't understand who are the employees that are covered by this.
Just the sheriff's deputies.
But it says excluding sheriff, chief deputy, lieutenant, confidential secretary.
Those are all management positions. So they are not covered under the contract.
So these are
Just the deputies.
deputies.
Yes, they're the only ones who are legally allowed to be in a union in the state of
They're
Wisconsin.
like patrol deputies.
Right.
Okay.
Whereas
thank you.
command structure is not a deputy and not eligible to be part of a union contract.
So not food service workers or maintenance
No.
people. Oh, okay. thank-
Not correctional officers, not,
okay.
no, just the deputies.
Any-
Uh, As a clarification, in the state of Wisconsin, only police officers, sworn officers, and fire departments are allowed to be in a union. A public union.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second to approve the amended sheriff's deputy contract. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we need approval to hire chief deputy.
Sheriff Sipke, you want to take this?
Sure. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Heather's turning the volume up.
Tess? Can you hear me?
A little better, Sheriff.
Okay. So we interviewed Dave Dawson. He's currently a deputy or investigator for Bayfield County. He's been there 12 years, has supervision experience. As a patrol sergeant for, I believe around 5 years. He has extensive amount of training and supervision, investigations all around death, drug, sexual assaults. Part of their tactical team over there as well. Like I said, he has a very large resume, qualified. He was interviewed. Prior to that, he has a background in correctional officer. He was in Milwaukee County for 4 years as well, which we thought was good, having to understand what we do here. We would like to, we set them conditional offer based on this board hearing, and then there's a background investigation as well we're currently doing. But we would like to propose that we hire him, and there's nothing that came back negative on the background so far.
And the official start date would be January 6th.
Is there a motion to approve hiring a chief deputy? Laura?
This is Laura Negro. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Laura Negro.
Ron Stender will second.
Ron Sindor seconds. Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving a chief deputy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Resolution R11, 2024-1493, a resolution in support of Ashland County Conservation Lake Monitoring and Protection Network.
So this is a resolution we pass every year for grant purposes. If you have any questions, Mary Jo is on the line.
Is there, oh, I'm sorry, Laura?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Laura Negro makes a motion. Is there a second?
This is Gary, I'll second.
Gary Ader seconds. Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Ray abstain.
Thank you. Reports and updates, Administrator.
Well, we haven't just saw you guys recently. So, the two things, Supervisor Stark has officially resigned from the county board. He moved from the island to Cable. So he's no longer living in Ashland County. We will be putting, now that the board has been notified, we will be putting an ad in the newspaper to see if anybody wants that seat. And then two, the dispatch will be merged in a little less than a month. I believe it's the 17th is the day we're looking at. All Ashland County dispatchers have been given job offers. They have to accept it by the next week. And after that, we'll be merged.
Seriously, this will give our people more coverage, better follow through on all these calls, and everybody gets better service. And that was a big haul. Ron spent a lot of time, and so did Dan, in all of these meetings to get this to happen. Thank you, guys. This is what we're here for, is making people's lives better.
Good, thank you. Any other? Mr. Bill?
On the, now the courthouse roof and all the work on restoring it has been completed.
Everything except for the elevator has been fixed, yeah.
Okay, when is that scheduled to be done?
The elevator is probably not gonna be done till early next year. Just because there's only one company that does it and they're backed up.
Is that ARPA money that we're gonna be using?
Yes. It's gonna be about 150,000. It was like 120 for the mechanics and then another 30 for putting up walls around the unit, which is required by code.
Any other questions of Dan? County
This
boards,
is Liz. Are we, oh,
I have
are
a-
we up to, supervisor updates or questions?
yes.
Okay. Dan, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
The homeless, situation, has there anything, for Ashland, warming shelter or any ideas of how to curtail that? And I've been asking, or been asked about, did we put it in the budget for correctional officers to get a raise? Thank you.
As far as the homeless goes, that really is a municipal issue. I do not believe the city has plans to open a warming shelter. I haven't heard anything about that. I know Bad River has theirs open already. As far as correctional officers, yes, there is a pay raise for them next year. And we passed that in October when we passed the budget.
Thank you. That's what I thought. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if anybody has a question, can go look at that October 29th meeting and see the pay raise resolution.
Other county board supervisor questions? Mr. Pache?
I just wanted to comment, I don't know if you noticed, but I sat out the Pledge of Allegiance this morning. And that was in no way a protest and in no way a sign of disrespect. I do that once in a while to remind us, or remind myself that we are at liberty to do so. But I do think the pledge is a really fine tradition that reminds us that we're all on the same page. And I really focus on that, on the idea of liberty and justice for all, which I think it really represents. So in a way, no way of protest. I'm just saying we are not compelled to do this to give our loyalty to our country, but we do it voluntarily, and that's kind of why we're here.
Good, thank you. Laura?
Two things. One, a comment. When we have these administrator reports and county supervisor reports, can we have a little summary, just a couple sentences of each one, so that way people know we actually asked things and had inquiries. The other thing is we are officially as the aging unit, so different hat. We're officially evicted from the Mellon Senior Center, and I had to move our equipment out. I tried negotiating to, one, keep our funding because our contract that we had with them was in violation of the federal standards. So, and none of that seemed to work. So I had to move our property out on Monday. And that'll cost us about a week's worth of paying for meals. It'll be over $1,000, closer to $1,500 to have to move all of our equipment out of there. So I do have a call into the assisted living to see if we can move our site there, keep some money in the local area, support those local jobs there, and also promote some senior interaction. And I do have, one of the churches has called me, and if the assisted living doesn't come through with wanting us in there for their site, also that'd be fresher food. But if it doesn't work out with the assisted living having our site there, there is a church that has stepped up and said that they're ready to go. They have a commercial kitchen, so So, and the home delivered people have not missed one meal. We pivoted and had the meals packaged up, and we had those taken down. Our volunteers are still doing their jobs. It is wonderful as they are. They pivoted with us. And just so when you guys get questions, because I'm getting swear words and emails, and I did not close down that site. That was my easiest site to deal with. So it was a disappointment to not be able to reach some kind of agreement.
Clarence?
Just a comment, Health and Human Services Board will meet this afternoon, and one of the items on the agenda I wanted to mention, because it'll probably come before our board the next time we meet, but one of the items on the agenda is a resolution honoring Jerry Esela, who's going to be retiring January 3rd after 33 years with the county. He's the supervisor of the Children and Families Department at Health and Human Services. He was a social worker in that department, I think, for most of his career, but he 4 years ago decided to take the supervisor's position, even though he was thinking about retiring at that time, and stayed on. And I just think it points out how many long-term dedicated employees we have, not only in Health and Human Services, but throughout the county. And I think that it's important that we thank them for their service and honor them for their long years of commitment to the county.
Rich?
Yeah, I have a question for Laura. I was wondering about if Mellon didn't meet the sanitary needs, because the mayor said that one of the things that were on there was that if other people are using their facilities, which they aren't supposed to, it isn't sanitized, so therefore they can't use the building. Only the Meals on Wheels can use the building. So how does that work with a church or rest home or whatever? Because everybody uses that. I mean, they got people that go in their kitchen. In their churches, that'd be another thing where they got cross-contamination or whatever you want to call it. I was just wondering if you could elaborate on that. Thanks.
Sure can. That's one specific issue and a very oversimplification of the whole thing. What it was is according to state statute and Older Aging Act wording, I cannot let anyone use our equipment with those federal and state funds without receiving a fair value for those things. So a rental contract, things like that. But so what it would have been is, I said I could have moved our stuff out of the kitchen. I could have moved the refrigerator out, put a hasp on that, had a locking little cabinet that all of our dishes went into. Yes, we have to sanitize more than what normal people do. We have to not hand dry dishes. We have to let them air dry. So yeah, there would have been a cleaning fee on top of those things, which would have been wrapped into if somebody wanted to use our equipment. If they didn't, no big deal. It's just, we have to have our stuff separated because we have a higher level of sanitization that is required, because the people that come in have health reasons that could be. Foodborne illness is very easy to catch in the senior population, and it usually leads to death. So it wasn't just one thing. It started with the federal and state statutes say that can't be used. And it seems like, because there is at least 6 other counties, providers, et cetera, that have had these same kind of clauses as what was in ours kick up. And maybe it was at the beginning of the 2000s that it was okay, but because, so Mellon, that would be, they said, basically what their exchange was, here is $40 a day. Because our stuff was in there, they gave us a $6 a day rental. So that money in between was supposed to be put into an account that was kept by the city to improve the building. And the thing is all these different places have these clauses, and somewhere in between, with all the loss of city councils, county board members, people who have been on the different senior boards for the meals, that's gotten lost and all that money disappeared. So that meant there was no fair exchange for that. So the state and federal had eliminated that about 2008. It was just our contract didn't get updated since that. And it wasn't something out of all the problems that I've had to fix with that agency, I did not get to the contracts, especially with as smooth of a process as what we had with Mellon and the people that we had in it cleaning. So once I was aware of those, we were in jeopardy of losing all of our state and federal funding for that program. So I had to stop it. So that's what I mean. It's hugely complicated. Then it was Bureau of Aging and Disability Resources and GWAR, which is Greater Wisconsin, something or other, Aging Resources, 2 different state entities. I had to actually go back and forth with even to find something that we could do to possibly stay in there. So this has been months of trying to negotiate this. So I did a lot of a lot of negotiating with the state to even try to find some things that we could do. So
I got another question then. So how does that work then with, if you go someplace else, like you were talking about those different places? So do your people come in before people eat and they sanitize everything for you to use it?
oh yeah.
Do they?
Yeah. So at Sanborn, all of our stuff is locked in a separate area. So nobody uses that when the church uses their stuff. In Glidden, Kathy is well aware of our items and stuff, and she does not rent out. They cannot use any of our stuff, our steam tables. They own the refrigerator and stuff there. It was kind of a weird situation with Mellon where we own the refrigerator and the tables and a whole bunch of other stuff and the stove. Butternut, all of our stuff is locked in a separate area that's in a county building, so it was very easily understood. So once we wash those dishes, they go in a cabinet where they're still sanitary and nobody uses our stuff. It was just a weird mix with this contract.
Yeah, but if you go in like the rest home or something, you're still using, you have to use their dishwasher and stuff, right? That's their dishwasher.
If we go into the assisted living,
Yeah.
they have the same set of food safety standards
Okay.
that we have.
Oh, okay.
So, and if it's the church, and and they do, the church in question does have, like I said, a commercial kitchen, so everything is stainless and
Yeah.
oven hoods and stuff like that. If they don't do a 3-step process, because we have to have a wash, a cool rinse, and then a sanitization with either bleach or quat.
Mhm.
If they don't have that, then we just have our plates where we lock them someplace and nobody uses them. So, or our plates and knives and stuff, whatever anybody would touch.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'm just gonna bring something up that is just for information only for the highway committee. There have been questions raised this morning about the brine put on the roads a few weeks ago, several weeks ago. November 7th. I remember seeing it, and the question for the highway department for a future information is, what was it, were our tanks full that we dumped it on the highway? It wasn't just the bridges, it was the highway. So that's just a question. It's not something we need to be answered today, but I've had several people ask. I saw it too, and I was kind of curious, but next highway department meeting, we'll talk about it. So good. Thank you. Anything else? Otherwise, we need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Mindel. Mr. Mindel makes a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Mr. Sindor. Seconds. All those in favor say aye of adjourning.
Aye.
Thank you.